We about to go live. Okay, I think I'm happy. Hey girl, how you doing? So I think I've approved the request. Hey
Hi,
there,
how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Can you hear and see me okay?
I can. Can you hear me and see me?
I can, yeah. How's
Great.
your day been?
It's been a little cloudy and rainy over here in Miami. How about you?
It's been kind of okay. It has been a little bit chilly today, but as long
Okay.
as it's not raining, I'm happy.
I know. I don't mind a little chilly. That sounds nice. I'm ready for some colder weather.
So it's great to have you. I'm really excited about doing this live because like I'm really into my health goals at the moment. You may have seen like some posts during lockdown. I'm very much into my health goals, so I'm really excited to have this conversation with you because you inspire me with your posts. I see you
Oh.
working out and cooking all your lovely meals.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun and I'm super proud of you for jumping into your health goals. I see you working and I'm so excited to share, a little bit of both of our experiences and not only in the health and fitness, but also, I'm super excited to learn more about all of the amazing things that you do and becoming, financially healthy is something that's super important for me. And especially
Yeah.
in recent years, and especially with everything going on right now, I think it couldn't be a better time to talk about it. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I am most honored. I'm most honored. So I'm going to get started. So for those who are watching, my name's Esther from Boss of My Money. I'm a personal finance coach and a budgeting expert. And I'm joined by my lovely friend. We're both in the same like coaching program, and we've met from across the world. Um, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, Marisola.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Marisol. I am a health coach and a nutritional strategist, and I'm currently out of Miami right now. And basically, what I do is I help busy moms and the lady hustlers to learn how to live their healthiest and most balanced lifestyle through a combination of exercise and fitness, creating one-on-one programs, also creating healthy recipes, and through self-care tips, just learning how we can take care of ourselves not only on the outside but through mindset.
I love that. And I actually downloaded your free shopping list. And what I loved about it is that like there's a section for approved indulgences. I was like,
Yes.
where has this shopping list been all my life?
Right, because it should be fun, it should be delicious. That's like my whole philosophy is like, I'm just a girl with a huge sweet tooth, and
Mm,
I like salty stuff too, but like my whole thing is, as I've gone through my own fitness journey, I've learned that like it just stinks to like get rid of everything. Like that's
yeah.
not the kind of mindset. And I'm sure, with overlap with like money, I'm sure we're gonna find it's very similar. Instead of like cutting out, cutting out, cutting out, why not
Yeah.
just upgrading and improving the way that you think about certain foods, choosing better options, and then you can really honestly have it all in moderation.
I totally agree with you. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. It's like all or nothing. And I think it's just
Yes.
about finding that right balance. And so one of the reasons why we decided to talk about this topic, and it's fair to say that, you know, we're very health conscious at the moment with the pandemic and everything that's going on. And a lot of people during lockdown started exercising again, going for walks, and you know, having more time to cook. So being able to cook their meals at home. So I feel like we're just in that kind of realm where people are a lot more health conscious. You know, everybody's trying to build their immune system. Winter's coming up, and they're talking about, the pandemic. So it is a really good time to talk about health, and also as it relates to money, because Like when I do budgets with people, the food budget is the one thing that is just so hard to keep in control of.
Yes.
Um, just, yeah, a lot of people have challenges with that. So I have like four topics that I want us to talk about, but I just wanted us to kind of maybe share our health journeys just from where we've been to where we're now, just to kind of help everybody to have an understanding of where we're at.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to go first or you?
You can go first.
Okay. I'll try to keep mine short. Basically, I think as soon as we're born, we're on a health journey, right? But I think where I really started to write my story was in college. For
Mm,
me, my college years were a very difficult time. It was just a time of, I had a lot going on at home with my family, and it was the first time I was leaving my like home nest of being by my family to be out on my own for college or for university. And so I was on my own, which meant I had a lot of time for self-reflection. And rather than kind of facing the issues that I had at hand, managing the stress of being at school and more
mm,
responsibility, I pretty much just buried myself into something that would distract me. And for me at the moment, that was exercising and kind of extreme dieting. So in my college years, I pretty much, I tried to fit in with everybody. I tried to do what most people do, joined a sorority, was involved as much as I could, but I really wasn't present with it. And instead, I would spend hours upon hours really, going above and beyond to the extreme with
mm,
exercising way too much, under recovering. And I
um,
didn't know anything about nutrition back then. So essentially, I was trying to eat as little as possible with as
mm,
many, diet and artificially sweetened products, just because I'm like, my main goal was trying to have as little calories as possible. That's what I cared about back
mm,
then. And so the result was I completely shrunk and became extremely malnourished. But, the saddest part was that I was really depressed, honestly. And I felt very empty, and I would look at myself in the mirror 20 pounds thinner and still not feel like I was where I needed to be. And that's when I kind of realized this was past trying to lose a few pounds, and it was much more disordered. And
mm,
so I little by little pulled myself out of that by taking steps to, number one, actually learn more about the topic. And I also challenged myself in different ways. I traveled a little bit, got out of my comfort zone, and I surrounded myself with a more positive group of people. And then over
mm,
time, I realized that I wanted to dedicate my life towards doing things in a smarter and healthier and more sustainable way. And
mm,
so that's what led me to go into the fitness industry, where I began working as a personal trainer with Equinox, and they have a fabulous education system. And I worked my way up through that system, became mentored by a bunch of amazing leaders in the fitness industry, learned how to do
wow.
things the right way. And I got really excited about the nutritional aspect of it. And when I started to
Mm,
learn what it truly meant to nourish your body with the right types of
mm,
foods, I started to let go of the whole dieting mindset and try to and
mm,
shift it into more intuitive eating. And so as I did that, I got really excited and started experimenting in the kitchen more. And that's when things blew up with cooking for me. And as I started to create my own healthy versions of old foods that I used to think I couldn't have with just better ingredients, I started to learn that there was another way. Because as I was doing as I was choosing healthier foods, I was also
mm,
realizing that my body was actually looking closer towards what I wanted it to look like. So I knew I didn't have to give one up. I could eat a
mm,
certain way that made me feel like I wasn't depriving myself, but I also was staying lean, I was staying fit and muscular, and I was healthy. I felt energized. And so that really brought me to where I am today. The work that I do today is I'm just trying to help, one person at a time find their
mm,
own balance, and teaching them that you don't have to do the all or nothing mindset. It's just
yeah.
simply about quality and doing the work that is required. There's no quick fixes, and I've learned that the hard way. So
Mm.
that's essentially, my story. That's what led me to where I am today.
Well, I'm going to echo what this girl's insight has said, which is I love that. Your story is really inspiring, and just seeing that the journey that you've taken is absolutely amazing. And the fact that
Thank
you get
you.
to help other women as well, absolutely amazing. It's funny because I feel like I'm the opposite. So I I was very slim growing up, like, 4'5", short girl, very slim, and I could eat whatever I wanted. I wasn't really health conscious because I had so much energy. And then I got married, and then like my family, extended family would be like, "Oh, you're so skinny, you need to put on some weight." And I listened to these people. And so I started to just consume more food just to kind of bulk up, because my husband's 6 foot, 6'5". He's really tall. And there's
Uh-huh.
me, this small woman. And culturally, it's like it's good to be big because it kind of shows that you're kind of living a good life. So I spent like 2 years just eating, consuming, thinking that I could just burn it, and I
Right.
put on weight. I went from a size 10 to a size 14 in like 18 months. And a combination of doing shift works and, eating on night shifts and basically just eating for the whole day. And as I got older, it got harder to shift the weight. I just found it really hard to shift it. I wasn't as active as I used to be, and I
Mhm.
didn't really have much self-control. And so I have kind of struggled with my weight. It's been up and down. And because I'm a small person, I feel it in my knees. So for
Okay.
me, it's not just about like the weight. When they say, oh, the numbers don't matter. For me, it's just how my body feels. So when I put on
Exactly.
excess weight, my knees hurt,
Hmm.
my
The
um
joints.
yeah, and I just get these pains, and forget about the cheeks, like my cheeks are like overextended.
Your
And
cheeks
so
are
I didn't really
beautiful.
like,
I love the bone
oh, thank
structure.
you. So I didn't really like just how my body felt, not so much how I looked, but how I felt. And so
Right.
I've tried different diets. One of the things that did work for me was on shakes. So not trying to
Hmm.
promote them or anything, but I did do Herbalife for about 2 years, and I found that that worked for me because I needed something quick, snappy.
Hmm.
I don't want to mess about making too much food, and so that worked for me. But then guess what? I can't live on shakes for the rest of my life. So
Right.
although it worked and I got results, I struggled to maintain it. So I decided that once I became debt free, that I was going to invest in a personal trainer. So in October
Awesome.
last year, when I paid off all my debts, the first thing that went on back in my budget was fitness coach. And I did invest in a personal trainer. It was expensive, but I needed that to kind of start me on the journey. So
Right.
sometimes, like, you may have to invest a little bit in your health journey just to get that support and help, because as you mentioned, you had people support you on your journey, years of trying to do it on your own. So I had a personal trainer, and then COVID happened. And the one promise I made to myself was that I am not going to put on weight during lockdown.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I worked really hard to just exercise during lockdown to just maintain the weight. So I didn't lose any weight, but I maintained. I didn't add any weight.
That's
And
excellent.
say that again.
That's excellent. That's a great goal, especially with now.
Yeah.
It is hard to even make concrete goals because everything is compromised. So I think that's great.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm mainly just focusing on my health goals. I spoke to my personal trainer this morning, actually, and I'm so tempted to go back in the gym, but with everything that's happening, I just want to continue to focus on my health. So that's just a
Excellent.
nutshell about us, just to give you guys some background. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you was your thoughts about fitness for beginners. So how does one get started on their fitness journey? Like, is there a roadmap to follow?
Yes. So That is, it's a huge question. And I will say, just to keep things as simple as possible, that absolutely you definitely want to think of it as a roadmap. Think of it, breaking it down in steps, because I think anything big, no matter what we want to change in our lives, we need to think of it in steps. So I always encourage clients, number one, start with a goal. You just need a goal. That's number one. It doesn't have to be big and it doesn't have to be small. Let's say you want to be able to, run 3 miles. That could be one goal. Another goal could be you want to lose 5 pounds. Another goal could be you want to cook three out of your cook for 3 times out of the week, your meals at home, right? So I think no matter what, don't judge your goal. I would say meet yourself wherever you're at, and whatever gets you excited. That is also super important. So choose something that is going to make you excited. And then from there, once you have your goal, everything else kind of comes into place. The next step that I would recommend is to break down that goal into smaller wins. So if let's use the running goal. If your goal is to run 3 miles, then maybe a smaller win would be to be able to run 1 mile within this month. And then next month, 2 miles. And then the following month, you get to that 3 miles. So the important part with that is that you're breaking it down into smaller chunks. So that way it's more manageable for you to work towards. And then from there, I would then take a next step further and put it in your calendar. Break down your goal and your smaller wins into calendar, or in other words, like daily tasks that will lead you to that goal. So on a daily basis, that could mean something as simple as maybe you're just going to practice, mobilizing your ankles and working on your feet if you have some issues with your feet, maybe. Or maybe if it's a food related goal, maybe step one is just like writing your grocery list every week for what you're going to take to the store or order online. And again, it's really all about building momentum. So I would just say start with a big goal, break it down into smaller steps, and most importantly, put some things in the calendar where, if not every day, at least 3 to 4 times a day, you're doing something in your brain to get you to take action towards the bigger goal.
I absolutely love that. If you saw me looking down, it's because I was actually making these notes for myself.
Taking some notes? Good.
Yeah, making some notes for myself. And like, I tell my clients something similar, which is because we all have goals, right? And it's very easy to set goals, but not everybody achieves the goals that they set. And it's for this very reason, because it's so big, it's such a giant. And so unless you break down your goal into bite size, like chunkable bits where you can actually just attack them one bit at a time, then it becomes really difficult to achieve your goal. So I love that you mentioned that, because I think that is key, because otherwise you set a goal to lose. Like I had a goal to lose, I wanted to drop down a size. And I was like, okay, so let me break down that goal, because that's a very big goal and I'm not going to achieve it in a month. So what are the things that I can do to help me drop down one size? Okay, I need to get my steps in, just start doing, 10,000 steps 3 times a week. And then I started off with that. I just made sure I was consistent with that. And it took me about 2-3 weeks to really be consistent with it. But I made sure that I mastered that before I moved on to the next. So I love what you said, that you have to build the momentum and it takes time. There's no quick fix to a lot of our goals. So I absolutely love that. So when it comes to like diet and nutrition, because a lot of people struggle with their food budget, right? A lot of my clients, it's the one area in their budget where they just seem to be out of control in, and it's always going up and down. And I have some like hacks for that. But as a diet nutritionist, are there any tips that you can sort of give us on how we can keep costs low with eating healthy? Because healthier foods are expensive, which is really annoying. Like, how do you manage your budget in terms of the food that you buy and being healthy?
Right. So first, I just want to make sure no one gets confused. I want to be clear. I'm actually not a nutritionist. I'm a nutrition coach. So
Okay.
I have a lot of tips for you guys, and I'm going to try to make it as, you know, digestible as possible. So I think even just the mindset of like healthy food is more expensive. Like honestly, I think that while it is true, like some organic foods are going to be more expensive than not. In general, I
Mm,
think if you really do your research and you follow some of these tips, you're going to find that it's like neck and neck with some of the prices here. Because I've done some homework and I've shopped around at different stores online, and I really feel like it's actually just more about the strategy behind it. So
yeah.
number one thing I can say as a giant hack is see if you can do more cooking at home. It's very simple, right? It's
Mm,
kind of like a no-brainer, but it's true. Think about how many meals are you eating out, ordering out. Don't
yeah.
forget your coffees. Don't forget your little snacks that you pick up maybe at the gas station. All of that counts, right? So number
Yeah.
one is see if you can try to cook more of your meals at home, and then breaking that down into even a smaller step as you build out your meals for the week. Something I love to do is
Mm,
I write down a menu for myself, a rough menu of what are the meals that I want to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I build
mm,
my grocery list from there. And I know, how many people I'm cooking for. For me, it's me and my boyfriend, and he eats a lot.
mm.
But, you have a general idea of how much you need to buy. And then if you do that at the beginning of each week and you're planning to cook
Mm,
majority of the week, you are also not going to waste as much food because you know how much you're making. And you're
yeah.
also going to prevent yourself from going hungry or those last minute, like, oh, I'm starving, I'm going to go eat something, because you've already done the work to proactively plan your meals. So we can
Mm,
break that down even further, but I would just say that that's one big tip.
yeah.
Another smaller tip is, now that we're in the grocery store, okay, we're already here. How do we make more affordable options? I will say when
Mm,
it comes to the pricier things, it's usually protein. So if you're somebody
yeah.
who eats animal products like me, the meats and the fishes, it gets very expensive. So a few quick tips is I love to buy canned wild fish. I know it doesn't sound
Yeah.
very appetizing, but it can actually be delicious. So I buy
Mm,
like lots of canned tuna. I buy canned sardines. They're all really awesome quality. They're super fresh. They're also non-perishable. So
mm,
they're just really handy to have in case you want to like bring them to work with you or on the go. I'm also a fan of ground meats. So if you were to
mm.
buy, a piece of steak versus ground beef, the ground beef
Yeah.
is going to be significantly less expensive. So you can load up
Mm,
on all different types of ground meats, ground turkey, ground chicken, ground pork. Um, and then I would say when it comes to non-meat or non-proteins like rice and side dishes, try to buy those
yeah.
in bulk whenever possible, because you're going
Yeah.
to save more, and they're things that you're always going to be needing. So you might as well buy them, by the pound or kilo. So those are some examples. I have even more. I think even within the organic and non-organic realm. I don't know if you're
Mm.
familiar with the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen.
No, tell me more.
Okay, so this is great if you're someone who maybe you're not ready to go all organic yet. I totally hear you. Basically, the reason for buying organic is so that you don't eat as many toxins and that your food is less
Mm,
contaminated. Doesn't mean it's not sprayed, it just means less of. So, in terms of preventing cancer and chronic disease, we want to have more food that's not sprayed as hard with those chemicals.
yeah.
However, if you're not ready to go 100% organic, you can look up on Google the Clean 15, and these are 15 foods that are lesser contaminated, and those are a great starting point so that you can then choose, for example, avocados, corn, pineapple. I'm reading off the list here because there's a lot of them. Cabbage, cauliflower. These are all ones that if you don't buy them organic, it's not as bad. And then on
Okay.
the other hand, there's the Dirty Dozen. These are the 12 fruits and veggies that, like, whenever possible, you really want to try to buy them organic. And these are going to be like
Okay.
strawberries, spinach, apples, tomatoes. So that's something to think about too. So that way you don't feel like you have to buy everything organic.
Yeah.
And then the last big tip that I would say is shopping seasonal. So when you are at the store,
Mm,
um, go with what's on sale. Like I don't, you know, you may have your favorites and things like that, but shopping seasonal is going to save you money because it's almost always on sale. And even better yet, the seasonal items tend to be higher in nutrients because they're
Mm-hmm.
fresh and they're juicier. And on top of that, too, you're going to be able to challenge yourself to try something new, maybe. So that's even better for your health because variety is key in a healthy diet as well.
I absolutely love those hacks, and I've got
Great.
my sticky notepad. I'm making notes.
We're running out of
I'm
space.
making notes, and I just did my food. I was in two minds because I usually do my food shopping in the weekend, but I did it today, and I was like, oh, maybe you should wait until after the live, you know. And this is definitely going to change how I shop. I think I would definitely be introducing more of the canned protein, like the wild
Yes.
salmon. And I have tried
Yes,
them, and I do like them, and they're actually more affordable than, buying like a whole salmon.
for sure.
So I feel like Marisol has given us so many great tips. So I'm only just gonna add like one or two,
Yeah.
mainly just showing how I keep my food budget intact. So I find that when it comes to food budget, it's to do with wastage. So a lot of the time we do food shopping when we already have food at home. So one of the things that I do is I take stock of what I have first. So I literally open the cupboards, the fridge, and I take a look. What do I have? What meat do I have? What protein? What veg? And then I decide what I'm going to eat. So I plan my meal based on what I already have. And if there's anything missing, then that's what I'll be buying. So rather than just kind of going shopping aimlessly, most of the time we have food at home that we can, put together and have a healthy meal from. So that's one of the things that I do. I take stock, then I plan my meal plan based on what I have, and then I buy what I need to make that happen.
So
Another
smart.
thing that I say that again.
So smart. Yeah, that's a huge point. It's like it's something that I think we forget a lot.
Yeah, because a lot of it is to do with, wastage and just lack of planning. Like most of the time when we buy takeaways, it's because we're tired, we've had a long day, we forgot to defrost the meat,
Yes,
and
so
and it's
true.
just like it's hard work. So it's very easy to just kind of be like, what the heck, I'm tired. There's no way I'm going to be in the kitchen, and you order food. So I try to meal plan as much food as possible and just have it in the freezer. So I'm the type of person that I get tired of eating the same food. So even when I meal prep, I will make like two or three different kinds of food just so that I don't get tired. Because if I cook the same thing and eat the same thing for the whole week, by the third day, I just want to eat something else. So
Right.
I meal prep as much as I can because I know that it's when I'm tired, when I've forgotten to defrost, the meat, that's when I'm likely to order takeaway. And my final tip would be to do food shopping weekly. So in addition to the bulk buying that Marisol mentioned, because you do save money when you buy in bulk, but just doing your food shopping every week, because then it means you can plan week to week. When you do your food shopping for a month, it's like you're predicting that you want to eat pasta in 3 weeks' time, and it's likely that when that time comes, you don't want anything to do with pasta. So by just doing your food shopping weekly, you're only really buying what you're going to eat. So I hope
Exactly.
those tips helped. There's lots more. And guys, there's actually going to be a part two of this. So this is just part one. And I really appreciate everybody for joining in. And I'm just going to read just some of the comments. Someone saying, awesome conversation. Thank you very much. She's the boss. She's actually my business coach. She's added a stone. And oh, wow, amazing. You started with your personal trainer today. Well done. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope he didn't give you any breaks at all. Someone else says that this girl's insight says, I need to get back into my daily steps. Great stuff. And if I have like a watch that I track my steps. I just have to remember to wear it. When I wear it, I'm more conscious of like
Yeah.
my movement, what I'm eating and stuff. And guys, if you have any question, please do just use the question sort of button and answer your question. So let's talk about, I did want to talk about, like, do you think that culture and ethnicity plays a role in diet? Because sometimes I'm like, man, you know, being a Black woman is not easy out here,
Right.
you know, because of like my genes and whatnot. Do you think that has a role to play? Because sometimes we feel that every diet works, but what I've come to understand is that my body's different. So even if there is a diet that works, I can only test it to see how my body responds to it. But I have to really get to know my body and how it is. Do you feel like genes and ethnicity plays a role in our body and in our health?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up because you're absolutely right when you say you kind of have to try it, right? I think based on, how do we not expect the way that we're raised and the culture that we're brought up in to not influence how we think and feel about food? And something that I thought about with this question is not only the type of food that we're eating are we taught as we're
Mm,
younger, like, let's say, for example, like my family, my grandparents, they came from South America. So what does that mean? It means a lot of
mm,
rice and a lot of beans and a lot of bananas, and what is all of that? It's a lot of carbs, and I love
yeah.
carbs. Like, I love them all the time. I want them all the time. My boyfriend and I joke and he calls me a carb face because I just always am in the mood for carbs. And while I laugh about that, it's actually, it is a no-brainer because I truly believe that whether it's our ancestors or the history of our family and our genes, there are probably certain
Mm,
foods that are definitely like our bodies just jive with better, and we tend to feel more
yeah.
energized from certain types of foods. And another example, is whereas someone might thrive on a higher fat diet, someone might thrive on a
Mm,
higher carb diet, and you kind of don't really know what that is for you, until, like what you said, you start playing around and trying things. And that's kind of the answer that I think a lot of people don't want to hear, but it goes back
mm,
to trusting your process and knowing there is no quick fix, there is no one size fits all. And
mm,
to take that a step further too, I would say that, if you are struggling to know, like, okay, what's best for me, the best place that you can start is eliminating as many processed and inflammatory types of foods. And we can talk more about
mm,
what those look like in part two. But
mm,
basically, the more whole foods or the more foods that come right from the earth that you're eating,
mm,
that will give you kind of an even playing field to then figure out, okay, if I'm eating mostly whole foods, then from there I can tweak if I need a little bit more fat or if I'm somebody that needs a little
mm,
bit more protein, and then go from there. But I definitely believe that is something that we have to consider. And also too, culturally, we learn how to eat. And this could be like within the culture of your
yeah.
own family, right? Maybe our parents have taught us, when you're having a bad day, you get an ice cream. Or maybe when, something really happy happens, we celebrate with a ton of food and we overeat. And
Yeah.
those are mindset and behavioral patterns that we take with us till we're adults, and then we sometimes that can be a struggle then to overcome those. So absolutely.
Mm. I totally agree with you. Like, I can relate to just, you know, you got to finish that food. And I'm like, but I'm full.
Yeah,
Well, it's not going in the bin.
right.
So
Finish your
where,
plate.
and I grew, say that again?
Like the whole idea of like you have to finish your plate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. To the point where I know I'm full, but because I've dished this food out, I have to finish it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to part two. So like I said, guys, there's going to be a part two to this. Please do ask your questions. We'd love to get some questions from you guys. So I've got one more topic that I want us to talk about, and then we're going to play a game. So do continue watching. We're going to be finished very shortly. We appreciate your time and you guys joining us. So this is like one of my pain points when it comes to like fitness is because I don't like cardio, right?
Okay.
I don't like all that jumping up and down and my heart beating and racing. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? This is torture. I love strength training. I feel like that's where my strength is. I love, weights and things like that.
Me too.
Um, but I get so annoyed with like sports clothing
Right.
where like I'm trying to do a squat and half of my bum is is exposed, or I just start feeling itchy. Like, how do we pick or choose what types of like sports clothing to wear? Is there like a specific thing that you have to go for? And I find that they're really expensive as well. So one of the things that I do is I don't buy like expensive gym outfit or sportswear, but if I achieve my goal, then I treat myself to something new. I'm like, if you lose 1 pound this week, then maybe next week you can treat yourself. But what are your thoughts about sportswear?
Sportswear, I know. I feel you. I know sometimes they can be really uncomfortable, and you're right, they're very expensive. And for me, like I feel like that's all I wear. So I'm kind of used to it now because I honestly miss just wearing normal clothes, but I feel like I'm always in need of wearing them. So in terms of like the comfort, I would say just make sure you're buying like a size and material that really suits you, because some people, there are some different types of materials that you can get. Some of them are like all about the dry wicking, so your sweat doesn't stay on you. But if you
Mm,
prefer like more of like a softer cotton, I would just try
mm,
maybe a different material. And do some, pick something that makes you feel really confident. Like I'm someone that I don't really like wearing a whole lot of black when I'm working out. Like I actually like a lot of color and something to like excite me and get me energized. So I like picking
yeah.
colorful things. And when I wear something that I feel confident in, I feel more comfortable in it. And
Mm,
and then thirdly, just make sure it fits you well. Like don't be afraid to like get, go the next size up. Like one time I was in my head and I really wanted to like fit myself into like size, like the smaller size sports bra, and I was like wondering why it was like cutting into my back, and it didn't even look right. It looked like tight. I'm like, I don't want this to look like it doesn't fit me. And then I just went up a size and I'm like, okay, now I can breathe and it's going to stay where it needs to stay. So I would say, I wish I had better advice, but I would just say like maybe try out some different materials, pick a
mm,
size that really fits you well. Like don't be afraid to go up a size if that feels better. And
okay.
as far as finding more affordable options, I don't know in the UK if there's like, we have over here like Nordstrom Rack and TJ Maxx. They're
Yeah.
like discount department stores.
Yeah, we have like TK Maxx and we have Sports Direct as well, and
Okay.
some other more affordable, yeah, sports
That's
shops.
like
Yeah.
the only place where I like to shop. I go right there.
Mm,
They have like all of the nice brands that I like, but at a fraction of the price. And I have so much fun because I get so much more for my money. And then
mm,
nowadays, because of social media, there's a lot of fitness influencers that are, not big companies that are now coming out with their own fitness brand or like athleisure
yeah.
brands. And if
Mm.
you just follow some of those people, they want to be promoted and you can support a local business, try checking out their stuff because they're usually a lot less expensive as well. So that would be
Wow.
my
I
tips.
think that's a really good point, actually, just to support some more local shops. That's a really good point because there
Totally.
is quite a lot of people that are into health and fitness. And I feel like sometimes these big companies, they don't really make stuff for us to feel comfortable in.
Right.
It's just a high price ticket item.
Totally
But
agree.
I love those tips. So, guys, we're going to play a game now. I believe that there is like an official name for this game, but I don't know what it is. If you know what it's called, then please let me know. But I'm going to call it versus. It's basically where we put, two topics against each other, and then we'll just ask Marisol to just kind of share her thoughts on them. So the first one is cardio versus strength training.
Okay. So just whatever I think about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I love both, honestly. I think my heart is kind of like you. Like, I naturally lean towards the strength training because I love how it feels. I feel really empowered and strong. But I've realized lately when I cranked up my cardio, and that's something I
Mm,
want to talk to you about too, because cardio does not necessarily mean you're bouncing up and down and jumping a lot. I'm actually just doing a
okay.
lot more like longer walks, and I'm seeing a
Mm,
lot of really great fat burning benefits from it. And
Yeah.
that's something that for most people, you're going to see the same type of results. So I would say you want to make sure you have both of those in there. And I give both a thumbs up.
Mm. Okay, brilliant. So you already know I prefer strength, but I do
Yes.
love walking, and that's something great that came out of COVID for me, was just being able to just go and walk for an hour and a half. So I
Oh,
do love walking. Okay, keto versus vegan.
that's a toughie because I'm really anti-diet. So I would say
Mm,
that I actually love elements of both of them. Again, I love keto and the fact that it's very high fat. I just in general love high fatter foods. Um,
yeah,
Dark chocolate, sprouted nuts and seeds, coconut oil. I mean, those are like staples in my diet. I probably have some of those every single day. And it's really powerful because I think what the keto diet tries to get at is trying to keep you a little bit away from the more refined carbohydrates and help you
yeah,
to transfer getting energy from your own fat sources and putting in more fat. So I love different elements of that, as well as I do love different elements of vegan cooking for, especially for desserts. So vegan desserts are almost my favorite because generally I personally feel my best when I stay away from pasteurized dairy products. So when
mm-mm,
it comes to making like cheesecakes and choosing my yogurts and nut milks, I choose all plant-based, and it really makes me feel my best.
mm,
However, I personally am not a huge proponent of the vegan diet just because
yeah,
I believe that for most of our goals, for everybody, we need a ton of protein, and the most efficient way to get all of your protein in is always going to be from animal products. So I think you
mm,
just kind of give yourself a little bit of a hurdle when it comes to that. However,
yeah,
if you do it right and you're extremely disciplined, there's definitely, you can definitely achieve goals being vegan.
yeah. And I guess it's that thing of where like they all have their, individual benefits, but I
Right.
don't think one thing you can't be a vegan. Well, I know that there are vegans out there. Please don't come for me, any vegan viewers. But I personally could not just be one thing. So what I try to do is like I'll have a vegan week. I'll have
Yeah.
yeah, or I'll have like a keto week where a whole week I'll just do keto, or I'll have a vegetarian week or like no meat week kind of thing. So I kind of incorporate them at different times, sort of like of the month. But
I
yeah.
love
And
that.
finally, nutrition versus exercise.
That's hard. I don't even know. You got to have both. You got to have both.
Yeah.
You cannot out exercise a bad diet, and
Mm,
you cannot out eat or outsmart your eating to not
yeah.
exercising. That's also key too,
Mm,
because I think we've all heard like, oh, you can't fake it if you're eating a bunch of stuff and you can't just like burn it off really fast. Does not work that way. But at the same rate too, if you are trying to get away with exercise, period, just by like
yeah.
shrinking your calories or, eating salad and being a rabbit, like you're also going to face negative health effects as well too, because exercise is just something we need to get our heart rates up, we need to strengthen our bones through muscle, and we need to have that element always to our health and fitness routine. So I would say that both are also something that I would definitely encourage you to seek support in if it's something you're
Yeah.
stuck, whether that's a mentor or maybe a friend or someone that is a little bit more farther along in their journey, a coach, an
Mm,
expert, or simply picking up a good book. Nowadays there's so many amazing resources out there, and there's a lot of amazing podcasts, and
yeah.
I'm constantly learning about both of them. It's a field
Mm,
that we actually have the smallest amount of research on, and that's why it's so confusing. That's why it's so overwhelming, because now we're like
yeah.
learning new stuff all the time. So I would just say be patient with yourself, and you definitely need both.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. I think for a while I was just focused on nutrition, but then I realized that it has to be both. Although I do focus more on my nutrition, but it has to be both, especially with everybody working from home. Like we're doing everything in our homes. It's really good to just kind of move about because we're not traveling anymore to work. So
Right.
just to move about and get some exercise going, move your body and do some stretches, go outside, you know, go for a walk. Like sometimes I just walk around my neighborhood, my street. I just put my trainers on. My husband's like, where are you going? I'm going for a walk.
That's it.
You know, and I just go for a walk and come back. But you actually have a really good resource that I want to recommend to everybody. Marisol has a free shopping list that you can get. But what's amazing, I have like seen lots of different shopping lists from different like health coaches, but hers is amazing because it actually has a section for approved indulgence. So you can almost have your cake and eat it too. Whereas a lot of people are like, you can't have this, you can't have that. And you would only last for a week, but it's not sustainable. So it's really about balance. And so in her shopping list, she kind of shows you how to get that balance. And there is going to be a part 2 to this, which should be sometime next week, but we'll definitely announce it. So watch out for it on my platform. And it will be Marisol. I'll be the guest at Marisol's platform. But also, I just wanted to let everybody know about, I'm doing a free masterclass on Wednesday, and it's about the 7 secrets to having a debt-free and stress-free Christmas. So I really want to help you guys get prepared. I don't want us going into any debt during this Christmas. Like, this year is not the same as other years, and I really want us to kind of watch our pennies, but I want us to plan and be prepared for Christmas. So my thing is that it's not that you don't have to spend money, but it's spending money in a way that doesn't get you into debt and a way that doesn't stress you out. So I'm going to be giving like my 7 secrets. I used to get into a lot of debt during Christmas, and I've gone 3 Christmases where I've not incurred any debt and I've been able to stay in budget. So I want to share that with you guys. So if you're available on Wednesday at 5 p.m. UK time or 12 p.m. EST, then you need to register for it, and the link is in my bio. So guys, before we go, any questions? Someone said awesome presentation and totally informative. Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. And I'm chairing She's the Boss on. I'm not sure if she's still around, but I'm definitely going to be chairing her on and asking her about her fitness sessions with her new personal trainer.
That's so exciting.
Great stuff. So thank you so much for taking this time to join us. Thank you, Marisol, for hanging out with me. And I look forward to hanging out with you next week. We appreciate all of you guys and enjoy the rest of your evening. Did you want to say goodbye before?
Sure. I just want to say to Esther, thank you so much for bringing me on. And this was super awesome to share a little bit with your audience and cross paths across the pond. It's so exciting. And I can't wait for part 2, and I'm super excited for your masterclass. That's going to be amazing. And I think that you are ahead of the game talking about the holidays now. I think it'll be here before you know it. So I'm all about that. And make sure everybody, we see you on Friday, because there's going to be, or next Friday, I think we're going to do it. We'll let you guys know. And if I can help you at all, and drop any more questions for us down below. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye. Or it's afternoon to you, so enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.